Hi there, so I'm here with Maria Ureña. She's the Region Director for the Inland Empire California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. It's the 37th annual convention. What do you think of it as compared to the past years?
In comparison to the prior years, I want to say that this is one of the most successful conferences that we have had. We have doubled our attendance. We also doubled our attendance for our pre-convention kickoff, which we had in July. We're very happy with it. The city of Riverside has been a great representative for us, and they have been a great partner. All of our chamber leaders and all of our chambers from the various areas throughout California have been here and been present, and they have all been very supportive. So we are very, very happy and excited. Also, all of our elected officials that received an invitation did come and make an appearance. A lot of them spoke. They were able to stop and meet our members, so we're very excited about that. We're very, very happy.
Definitely a lot of great people. How did you become involved with the chamber, and what inspired you to do so?
So when I was younger, I was volunteering more on the health side. So I used to be a candy striper, what we called candy striper. It's a junior volunteer. And I would volunteer in convalescent homes and public hospitals. Once I got my degree and I became a registered nurse practitioner, I would volunteer a lot on the health side. One of my sisters actually got involved with the business side because she's a small business owner. And she got involved with the chambers of commerce locally. And I would come and help her at the mixers and the different business events. And one day she said, you should join the board. You're pretty good at this. And I said, okay, well, I'll just do it because you're asking me to. And once I joined and I became a director, it was amazing and incredible. And it gave me something different that I had never seen. Right? And that was the business side. How do you run a business? Why should you be in business? And it made me reflect on my dad, who was a gardener, and I didn't understand that he was an entrepreneur, that he had a small business. I just saw my dad as a gardener. And so it gave me the appreciation for what my father did when he was trying to support us. So after that, we had an opportunity, my family and I, my husband and I, to own our own business. And so we took the opportunity, but I felt like I just didn't know enough to be able to make it successful. So,
which business was that?
So it's a family-owned and operated King Automotive Services, and it's incorporated now. It's in general auto repair and smog and tires, and that's out in the city of Moreno Valley. So being on the chamber or with the chamber, it really gave me the appreciation of what a small business struggles with, but it also allowed me to self-develop in learning how to help my own business grow, and then I can go ahead and help other small business owners. Now, from there, I was invited to participate on the state-run chamber, or the state chamber, and I was invited to become a region director. I was a little bit hesitant, but I saw the support, and I saw that potentially there was something that I could bring to this organization. And so I took a leap of faith and I joined, and I fell in love with it. And being able to make a difference at the state level, and being that advocate for small businesses like my own family business, and all of the other micro small businesses that are in the area, is really empowering. And so it allowed me to learn, it allowed me to grow, and it allows me to make a bigger difference in our economy.
And you said you were hesitant kind of to join at a state level. I think many people have opportunities presented to them, bigger opportunities, and have that hesitation. Where was that coming from? Was it because it was going to be too time consuming, or why was it a hesitation instead of like, wow, this is another opportunity for me to grow?
So I think what happens is there's a fear of failure for most of us, right? There's a fear of failure. And one of the things that we need to remember is, it's okay to fail. That's what helps us grow. That's what makes us grow. Now, what we understand is that most small business owners or entrepreneurs are a small business owner or entrepreneur because they had to. They didn't really have a choice. So some of them got laid off. Other people had to figure out how to make a second earning, more wages. And so they had to start a small business. That doesn't take away the fear of failure, right? And so for us, it was also, you had to invest some personal money because as Latinos, we don't go out to a bank and ask for a business loan, especially when you're starting at the micro level. And so we had to, there was an investment that we had to do, financial investment. And so you think, how is that going to affect your home, right? Your children and your monthly income. And then the other thing is, you hear on the news and the statistics that most businesses fail after 5 years. And so that was also something that you have to really take a leap of faith and say, am I going to be in business after a year, after 2 years? And even if I'm in business after 5 years, is it going to be just a hobby, or am I going to actually be able to make money to sustain my family? And so that's that fear, is that you're afraid of how it's going to impact your own personal economy at home and what you're going to be taking away from your children.
Because I feel like a lot of Latino families struggle already, so it's like using their own income on something that's so risky can be very frightening. You mentioned that Latinos don't go to banks for loans. Why do you think that is?
For the same reason. We, growing up, we were not very trusting, I think, of big organizations, government, that kind of thing. And so many Latinos, keep their money at home. They have a stash of money at home, and maybe not so much true today. But, there's always that fear that, I don't know, honestly, but you keep some money at home for a rainy day, for an emergency, you need it. And then the other thing is, I think that we're lacking not just the trust factor, but we also think about, our credit score. Some of us don't understand, the very micro businesses don't understand what a credit score is. Why is that important? And then the other thing is, if we can fund it ourselves, right? If we can fund it ourselves, we don't want to go pay a high interest on a small business loan. The other thing is, you go in and there's so much paperwork and you're still running a risk of not being approved for that loan. And so it delays your dream a little bit. But the other thing is, if you don't make that monthly income that you think you're going to make, then you will default on that loan. Your interest will go up. You pay fees, ruins your credit. And so, it's fear, I think, a lot of fear of everything that can happen that can go wrong. So for us, it's probably easier to just fund our startup business, and then we take out of the business to continue to grow it.
I think it's some of that Latino pride, right? We don't like to ask like the big institutions for help. We want to be able to just do it ourselves, and there's that pride there. What were some of the obstacles that you faced as a business owner, not only as a Latina, but as a woman?
So some of the obstacles, one of my tagline is, I'm a nurse practitioner by profession, and I love my profession. But I own an auto repair and smog, and it doesn't make sense, right? Some of the obstacles were not being informed of what I needed to do to make it a successful business. I'm a very educated Latina, but I wasn't educated on the business side. The other is there's so much paperwork, right? You need to incorporate or build your legal structure around it. It takes an attorney to help you figure out some of that verbiage, right? As much as I'm an educated Latina, I still needed to consult with an attorney. Right. The other thing is there are so many different certificates, your business license, your business permit, and where do you go to find all of that information? Because if you don't file for one thing, that could essentially cause you to have some kind of an enormous fee that you have to pay. The IRS is very scary as well. So those are other things that you're always afraid that maybe you don't have everything in order, but you start running your business that you run out of time and you don't become informed of all of the things that you should have in place.
And if you can kind of summarize it, 3 elements that make a business successful, what would you say those are?
Oh, 3 elements. The first is 3 elements. I have to choose these very wisely because
there's so much that goes into business, right? And then if you have employees, then there are other regulations as well that go into that. But what's next for you? Are you planning on? I mean, it's a family business. So I'm assuming it's going to be long term, right? And it's going to go on through generations. Is there anything else that you're working on?
Sure, but I do want to go back to the 3 elements. I think the 3 elements for me would be, 1 is have the heart and the passion for what you're going to embark in business in, right? Because if you don't have that, then you will be in business only until it serves you, and then you can let it go because it's not something that excites you, right? So have that passion and that heart and be happy with it. The other is look at it as part of your legacy for your children and your family, because that will help you grow it. And then the third is be informed. Be informed of everything that you need in order to run a successful business, run your business, make it successful, and make it grow it. So what's in the works for me later? I do plan on going back to my profession and going back to teach. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I have expanded my business to a point where I can contribute to this economy locally more than I am now. Currently, I help support 7 families. Those are my employees. And I really want to make sure that I can be that change agent in our community and help support even more families that need it. Because I have been blessed to be able to do that for myself and my children. And I want to make sure that I can pass that on to someone else.